Picture this. A rookie quarterback who was drafted in the 5th round, 144th overall, buried on the depth chart as QB3, isn't even guaranteed a snap this season. Yet somehow, he's already one of the most talked about players in the NFL. Forget highlight reels, forget game-winning drives. This guy is outselling Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Cooper Kupp in jersey sales. You heard that right. A third-string quarterback, who hasn't even been given the chance to show what he can do under center, is sitting in the top 5 of all NFL jersey sales. And the story only gets crazier from here. Shedeur Sanders, son of Hall of Famer Dayan Primetime Sanders, has turned Cleveland Browns merchandise into a nationwide phenomenon. Between March 1 and July 31, 2025, his jersey ranked among the top 5 sellers across the entire NFL. Not top 5 for rookies, not top 5 for quarterbacks, but top 5 for every single player in the league. That means more people are buying Shedeur Sanders jerseys than Mahomes, the 2-time defending Super Bowl champ, and Lamar Jackson's, a former MVP who's one of the most electrifying players in football. Think about how wild that is. 5th-round rookies usually just try to survive training camp. Most of them don't get noticed unless they make a splash play in preseason. Yet Sanders, fans are so invested that they've turned his jersey into a bestseller, generating an estimated $250 million in revenue, and putting millions of dollars directly in Shedeur's pocket, potentially more than the entire value of his 4-year rookie contract. That's not just unusual, it's unheard of. And here, where things get even more fascinating, despite the money he's generating, despite the new fans he's bringing to the Browns, Cleveland is keeping him stuck at QB3. They've got him sitting behind 2 other quarterbacks, with reports that they might even draft a first-round quarterback next season. Which begs the question, what exactly is going on here? Are the Browns sitting on a gold mine and refusing to cash in? Or is this all part of a bigger plan we don't see yet? Because this isn't just about football anymore. This is about the business of football, about what happens when a player brings more value to a franchise off the field than they do on it. It's about cultural impact, fan loyalty, and the future of how NFL stardom works. In this video, we're breaking down everything. The jaw-dropping jersey numbers, why Sanders' impact is rewriting the rules of NFL superstardom, the tension brewing in Cleveland's quarterback room, and what could happen next. So buckle up, because the story of Shedeur Sanders isn't just getting started, it's about to explode. When the NFL released its official jersey sales rankings for the 2025 offseason, most people expected to see the usual names at the top. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, maybe Joe Burrow or Justin Jefferson, the faces of the league. And sure enough, most of those stars were on the list. But sitting right alongside them, cracking the top 5 in the entire NFL, was a name that made fans and analysts alike do a double take: Shedeur Sanders. This isn't a fluke. This isn't a 1-week spike because of a viral moment. Between March 1 and July 31, 2025, Sanders' jersey sales were consistently strong enough to rank with the most popular players in football. He didn't just sneak in at number 10 or 9, he was top 5. That means he outsold Mahomes, the back-to-back Super Bowl champion. He outsold Lamar Jackson, one of the league's most marketable MVPs. He even outsold established fan favorites like Nick Chubb, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Cooper Kupp. To put this in perspective, most rookies, especially those drafted outside the 1st round, don't even crack the top 50. Their jerseys aren't stocked in every sporting goods store. They don't drive national merchandise campaigns. But Shedeur's impact has been so massive that retailers can't keep his jersey on the shelves. Every restock sells out. Social media is flooded with fans showing off their Browns gear with Sanders' name on the back. This isn't just local Cleveland fans, either. This is a nationwide, even global movement. And that's what makes this such a phenomenon. Sanders hasn't even taken a meaningful NFL snap, yet his name is moving more merchandise than some of the league's biggest stars who have Super Bowl rings and MVP awards. It's almost like we're watching a pop culture event more than a sports statistic. The financial numbers back that up. The estimated $250 million in total jersey revenue generated during that 5-month period is staggering. And while Sanders himself doesn't pocket that full amount, his share through the NFLPA licensing agreement is only about 2–4%. That still means he's likely cleared $5–10 million just from his name being on a piece of clothing. That's more than most rookies make from their entire NFL salary in 4 years. This kind of sales data is rare. It sends a message not just to the Browns, but to the entire league. Fans are not just watching Shedeur, they're buying in. They're literally putting money behind him before he's even proven himself on the field. That's power, that's leverage, and that's the kind of thing front offices can't ignore forever. Which brings us to the bigger question. Who exactly is Shedeur Sanders? And how did he become a cultural phenomenon powerful enough to shake the NFL economy without even being a starter? To understand why Shedeur Sanders' rise is so captivating, you have to know the story behind the jersey. Shedeur isn't just another rookie quarterback trying to find his footing. He's the son of one of the most electrifying athletes to ever play professional sports, Deion "Prime-Time" Sanders. Growing up in the shadow of a Hall of Famer could have crushed most young athletes. But instead of shying away from the spotlight, Shedeur embraced it. At Jackson State, he became the face of a movement. Under his father's coaching, Shedeur turned an overlooked HBCU program into a national headline. He didn't just put up numbers. He brought ESPN cameras, celebrities, and NFL scouts to games that had never seen that kind of attention. His ability to perform under pressure, week after week, made him one of the most recognizable names in college football. Then came the big move to Colorado, where he followed his father and elevated his game again, this time against Power 5 competition. He set school passing records, became a Heisman finalist candidate, and delivered some of the most viral moments of the 2023 college football season. Every game felt like a national event. Tickets sold out, ratings spiked, and suddenly, Coach Prime and Shedeur became must-watch television. But despite all of that, the NFL draft didn't go the way most expected. At one point, Shedeur was projected as a top 2 pick, potentially the future face of a franchise. But when draft day arrived, teams passed on him again and again, until the Cleveland Browns finally called his name in the 5th round at pick 144. That drop cost him tens of millions in guaranteed money. Instead of signing a $46 million rookie deal like Caleb Williams or Drake May, Shedeur's 4-year contract came in at just $4.6 million. For a lot of players, that would have been the end of the story: disappointment, frustration, and a long uphill battle just to see the field. But Shedeur flipped the narrative. Instead of sulking, he doubled down on his brand, turning his draft day slide into a storyline fans could rally behind. His message was simple: I don't need the league's validation, I'll make them see my value. And that's exactly what he's done. He's active on social media, charismatic in interviews, and carries himself with a quiet confidence that draws people in. He doesn't just talk about wanting to be great, he markets greatness, and people believe him. That's why his jersey is flying off shelves. That's why fans who never cared about the Browns are suddenly wearing brown and orange. Shedeur's story is more than football. It's about resilience, about taking a public setback and turning it into leverage. And now that he's built this wave of momentum off the field, the next question becomes, how are the Browns handling a player who might already be their most valuable asset? If there's one phrase that perfectly sums up why Shedeur Sanders matters, it's prime equity. This isn't just about being a good football player. It's about bringing measurable, bankable value to an organization beyond what happens on the field. Prime equity is what happens when a player's personal brand is so powerful that it becomes a revenue stream all by itself. Shedeur learned this blueprint from the best possible teacher, his father, Deion Sanders. Coach Prime wasn't just a Hall of Fame cornerback, he was a marketing genius. Long before Instagram and TikTok, Deion understood the power of persona. He knew that if you entertain people, they'd follow you, buy your jersey, and show up to watch you play. Shedeur has taken that lesson and applied it to a new era of sports fandom, where personality and relatability are just as important as stats. This is why Shedeur's jersey sales are historic. He isn't just selling shirts, he's selling belonging. Fans aren't just buying his name, they're buying into the story of a player who was overlooked, doubted, and disrespected on draft night, and who is now building his own path to greatness. That emotional connection is why he has fans from all over the country, not just in Cleveland, proudly repping his jersey. And this isn't just feel-good fan support. This is real money. When you're generating $250 million in total jersey sales in 5 months, that's a revenue spike that any franchise should care about. This is what makes Shedeur more than just a player. He's a business asset. He's drawing new eyeballs to Browns games, increasing TV ratings, boosting ticket sales, and even making Cleveland Browns merchandise relevant in markets where it never sold before. Imagine being the Browns' front office and seeing that kind of impact from a player who hasn't even taken a regular season snap yet. It's a dream scenario. You have a built-in marketing department in the form of your third-string quarterback. Every time Shedeur posts a clip on social media or drops a quote in an interview, it goes viral. That's free advertising for the franchise. But here's the kicker. Under the current system, Shedeur only sees a small fraction of the money he generates. The NFLPA's group licensing deal pays him about 2-4% of those sales. That's good money for a rookie, sure, but it's a fraction of the value he's bringing in. This is why so many analysts have started talking about the idea of a prime equity clause, a contract structure where players like Shedeur could receive a much larger share of the revenue their brand generates. If the NFL is serious about growing the game, they're going to have to start treating players like Shedeur not just as athletes, but as partners. Because what he's proving right now is that brand power is just as valuable as throwing power, and sometimes it's worth even more. Let's talk numbers, because this is where the Shedeur Sanders story really gets jaw-dropping. Between March 1 and July 31, 2025, sales of his Cleveland Browns jersey generated an estimated $250 million in total revenue. That number alone is staggering. To put it in perspective, that's not just more than most rookies will ever generate. That's the kind of number you expect from league MVPs and Super Bowl winners. But here, where most people get it wrong, Shedeur doesn't keep all $250 million. The NFL's merchandise revenue is pooled and distributed through the NFLPA's group licensing agreement. Players receive a cut, typically between 2% and 4% of total sales. For Shedeur, that translates to somewhere between $5 million and $10 million in actual earnings from jersey sales. Now, pause and think about what that means. Shedeur was drafted in the 5th round, signing a rookie deal worth approximately $4.6 million over 4 years. That means his cut from jersey sales, which, again, came before he's even taken a snap in a regular season NFL game, could actually exceed his entire rookie contract. He's literally making more from people wearing his name than from playing the sport. And it doesn't stop there. Jersey sales don't just benefit Shedeur. The Browns get a piece of that revenue too, along with the NFL as a whole. That's why this matters so much. Every jersey sold represents money in the league's pocket. And the more people who buy Shedeur's jersey, the more free marketing Cleveland gets. Fans who had no connection to the Browns are now tuning in to watch games, buying tickets, and spending money on concessions, all because of one player's cultural pull. This is what makes Shedeur so unique. His brand is essentially functioning as a profit center for the Browns. They're seeing increased engagement across social media, more clicks, more views, and more merchandise sales without even featuring him on the field. Imagine what happens if he actually starts and has a breakout game. Those numbers could double overnight. And here, where the conversation about prime equity becomes crucial. If Shedeur had a contract clause entitling him to, say, 20% of merchandise sales tied to his name, he'd be looking at a $50 million payday instead of $5 million. That's the level of value he's truly bringing. Right now, the system is built to limit how much of that upside players can access. For the Browns, though, this is a gold mine. They have a player who's essentially a walking marketing campaign, and they're paying him backup QB money. From a pure economics standpoint, that's the best return on investment in the entire league, which makes it even more puzzling why they seem reluctant to feature him on the field. What's happening with Shedeur Sanders right now goes far beyond the football field. This is no longer just about a quarterback trying to climb the depth chart. It's about a cultural movement that's bringing new energy, new fans, and new attention to the Cleveland Browns in ways the NFL hasn't seen before. You can see it everywhere. Social media is flooded with clips of Shedeur's college highlights, training sessions, and interviews. Every time he posts on Instagram or X, it goes viral. His fan base isn't limited to Cleveland, it's national, even global. Kids in Dallas, New York, Atlanta, and Los Angeles are rocking Browns gear, not because they grew up cheering for Cleveland, but because Shedeur made the Browns cool. This is the true definition of influence. For decades, NFL fandom was largely regional. You supported the team closest to where you grew up. But Shedeur is proof that the next generation of fans is different. They don't just follow teams, they follow personalities. They're more likely to tune in for a player they feel connected to than for the name on the front of the jersey. And make no mistake, that connection is real. Fans relate to Shedeur's story. The player who got doubted on draft night, who slipped from top pick projections all the way to the 5th round, who smiled through it and turned it into motivation. They see themselves in his resilience. They root for him not just because he's talented, but because he represents beating the odds. Even other players recognize his pull. When Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, publicly asked for Shedeur's jersey at the league's official jersey reveal event, it was a moment that sent shockwaves through the football world. It was a clear statement. Shedeur has respect in locker rooms across the league, not just among fans. And then there's the entertainment factor. Every time Shedeur shows up at an event, cameras find him. Every time he drops a quote in an interview, it turns into a headline. His personality is magnetic, his confidence contagious. That's why fans buy tickets hopping just to see him warming up on the sideline. This is why Shedeur's rise is being called a phenomenon. He's not just selling jerseys, he's building a culture around himself. He's converting casual fans into diehards. He's making the Browns relevant in conversations where they normally wouldn't be mentioned. For the NFL, this is gold. For the Browns, this is a once-in-a-generation marketing weapon. And yet, the more this fan movement grows, the bigger the tension becomes between what fans want, Shedeur on the field, and what the Browns are actually doing with him. All the momentum, all the hype, and all the money pouring in around Shedeur Sanders are leading toward an inevitable collision point, one that could reshape the Cleveland Browns' season and even their future as a franchise. The clash ahead isn't just about who lines up under center on Sunday. It's about power, perception, and pressure. Right now, the Browns are playing it safe. Deshaun Watson is their starter, and they've made a massive financial commitment to him, over $230 million guaranteed. From a front office perspective, benching Watson in favor of a rookie 5th-round pick would be admitting that their franchise-defining gamble didn't pay off. That's not an easy call to make. But outside of the team facility, the noise is getting louder every single week. Fans are chanting Shedeur's name at training camp. His jersey is outselling nearly everyone in the league. Even national analysts are starting to question how long Cleveland can afford to keep their most popular player on the bench. The longer the Browns struggle, the louder that chorus will get. And that's where the clash comes in. At some point, business realities and football realities are going to collide. The Browns may want to stick with Watson for as long as possible, but if attendance starts to drop, if ticket sales plateau, if local media turns up the heat, the franchise will have to make a choice. Protect their investment or ride the wave of a cultural phenomenon. Players in the locker room will feel it too. Veteran leaders will have to manage a potential divide, those who believe in sticking with the proven starter versus those who think it's time to give the rookie a shot. If Shedeur keeps winning over teammates with his work ethic and charisma, that locker room pressure could become very real. And then there's the media factor. The first time Watson has a rough game and the cameras cut to Shedeur on the sideline, it's going to light up every sports debate show in the country. Social media will explode with fans demanding a change. That's the kind of spotlight that forces coaches and GMs into tough decisions faster than they'd like. This isn't just a football story anymore, it's a cultural one. The Browns are sitting on a player whose brand is too big to keep hidden forever. The The clash ahead will come down to one question. Do they unleash him and risk the fallout, or do they keep him on the sideline and risk alienating a fan base that's already made their feelings clear? One way or another, this is heading toward a moment of truth. And when it arrives, it won't just shape Shedeur Sanders' career. It could define the Cleveland Browns for the next decade. This is where we have to ask the uncomfortable question. Are the Cleveland Browns wasting a gold mine? Because make no mistake, Shedeur Sanders isn't just another rookie. He is a walking, talking business machine who is single-handedly reshaping the way fans engage with this franchise. And yet, despite all of that, he's standing on the sideline wearing a headset while the Browns try to squeeze one more chance out of Deshaun Watson. From a pure economic standpoint, this doesn't make sense. You have a player whose jersey sales have already generated hundreds of millions of dollars, whose social media presence is pulling in national attention, and whose cultural relevance is giving the Browns more free PR than they could ever buy. Normally, when you have a product flying off the shelves, you make more of it. You put it in front of people. You give them what they want. But the Browns are playing a very different game. Their decision-making seems driven by fear of admitting a $230 million mistake, fear of locker room drama, fear of disrupting the status quo. The problem with that strategy: the clock is ticking. The longer they keep Shedeur on the bench, the more frustrated fans become, the more hostile media coverage turns, and the more they risk losing the momentum they've accidentally created. Think about the opportunity cost. Imagine what could happen if Shedeur was starting and playing well. The jersey sales would spike again, ticket sales would soar, and national TV networks would feature Cleveland in primetime slots they haven't seen in years. The Browns could go from being a mid-market afterthought to one of the NFL's biggest draws overnight. That's not just a PR win, that's tens of millions of dollars in additional revenue. The flip side is just as risky. If the Browns continue to keep him hidden, fans could turn on the organization. The same energy that's selling out jerseys could turn into boos at home games. The narrative could flip from the Browns found a star to the Browns are holding a star back. And in today's NFL, perception is everything. At the end of the day, the Browns have a decision to make. Are they going to ride this wave, or are they going to watch it crash on someone else's shore? Because if they waste this moment, Shedeur Sanders could easily become the next big star somewhere else. And if that happens, Browns fans will never forgive this front office. That's why this isn't just a football question, it's a franchise-defining question. Cleveland has stumbled onto a once-in-a-generation asset. The real issue now is whether they're bold enough to cash in before it's too late. What we are witnessing with Shedeur Sanders is more than a football story. It is the beginning of a seismic shift in the NFL, a reimagining of what it means to be a star, a franchise player, and a cultural icon. For decades, the formula was simple: play well, get noticed, sign endorsement deals, sell merchandise. The hierarchy of fame followed performance, but Shedeur has flipped that script. He sold out jerseys before taking a snap. He brought millions of eyeballs to Cleveland before he ever threw a touchdown. He turned a fifth-round rookie contract into a multi-million-dollar revenue engine purely through cultural pull and fan loyalty. That's not just unprecedented, that's revolutionary. And make no mistake, the NFL is watching. Other teams are watching. Other players are watching. What Shedeur is proving is that athletes can control their narrative and monetize their value before the league ever gives them their shot. This is the prime effect, taken to its ultimate conclusion. The son of Deion Sanders using the playbook his father wrote, but applying it in a hyper-connected, social media-driven world where fan engagement is currency. But with that revolution comes a reckoning. The Browns are standing at a crossroads, and how they handle this moment could define the next decade of their franchise. Do they embrace the new era, give Shedeur his shot, and ride the wave of national attention and fan passion that he has created? Or do they stay stuck in the old model, burying their most valuable asset behind a depth chart and hoping fans stay patient? One thing is certain, this moment is bigger than Cleveland. It's bigger than one player. This is about the evolution of the NFL itself. Shedeur Sanders is forcing executives, scouts, and owners to confront a truth that makes many of them uncomfortable. that the business of football is no longer just about X's and O's. It's about cultural resonance, marketability, and the ability to generate revenue in ways that traditional stats could never measure. Whether Shedeur ever becomes a perennial Pro Bowler or Super Bowl champion almost doesn't matter anymore. He's already proven that players can build their brand, create generational wealth, and rewrite the rules of stardom from the bench. And if he does get his shot and delivers on the field, then we will truly be witnessing the birth of a new NFL era, one where players aren't just athletes but full-scale media empires. So as we look ahead, one question remains. Will the Browns seize this moment and be remembered as the team that ushered in this new era? Or will they be remembered as the franchise that fumbled the biggest opportunity in modern NFL history? Either way, Shedeur Sanders is changing the game, and there's no going back.
If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to keep up with all the drama, trades, and behind-the-scenes action in the NFL, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us know you love this kind of content. And hey, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your group chats, or anyone who loves football as much as you do. The more the conversation spreads, the better it gets. Most importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss when we drop fresh stories, wild rumors, or breaking updates that the mainstream media won't talk about.